Hello. Today we're going to look at the grammar from Q Skills 3 Listening and Speaking Unit 7. And the grammar today is different kinds of sentences. So let's take a look at what we're going to cover today. First of all, the 4 different kinds of sentences that we use when we speak. And these 4 kinds of sentences are declarative, exclamatory, imperative, and interrogative. After that, I'm going to ask you to practice using these 4. And then I'll ask you to open your books on page 145 to do an exercise. And then I will also ask you to do a pronunciation exercise on pages 146 and 47, also in your book. And finally, we will do some LMS activities using these 4 kinds of sentences. So, are you ready? Okay, let's take a look at the first one. Declarative sentences. Now, what does this mean? It's what we use all the time when we tell a story or talk about something. Let's look at an example. This is a story. Yesterday, I was on my way to the university when my phone rang. This is a sentence, and it's declarative. It was my friend, Badr. He told me his car had broken down and asked me to pick him up. So I drove to his house, but he was not ready and I had to wait. As a result, we didn't arrive on time. We were late. Now, all of these sentences are declarative sentences. That's quite easy, isn't it? It simply means sentences with no questions. Now let's look at the next type. These are exclamatory. And there's a little difference here. We use exclamatory sentences to show that we are surprised or shocked or some other emotion. They are the same as declarative sentences, but we often add an exclamation mark at the end. So let's have a look and listen to how I say them. The voice also changes and we emphasize some of the words. We make them sound louder than normal. So for example, I was so surprised. It was so nice of you to remember. He's been late every day. What I'm doing here is exclaiming, emphasizing some of the words. Now I'm sure you do that in your language too. Okay, let's look at the third type of sentence. And these are imperatives. Okay, let's look at this. Imperative sentences are so easy to use. We use a verb and then more words after the verb, and we do not use a subject. Now, what does that mean? Let's take a look. For example, come to class tomorrow, please. There's no subject here as you come or I come or they come. It's just the verb and some words. In the negative, we simply add don't in front of the verb. So we could say, don't come to class tomorrow. Let's look at an example. For example, don't cheat in the exams. And there are no question forms in the imperative, so as I said, it's very, very easy to use. Now, let's look at the different kinds of imperative. Are you ready? We use the imperative in these situations to give instructions. For example, open your books at page 44, or turn left. To give commands. Stop talking. Don't use your mobile phone. To give advice. Go to hospital, you're ill, or eat well. And finally, to invite somebody. Please come to the party. Have some coffee with me. Now let's look at the fourth and final type of sentence. And these are interrogative. It basically means questions. We use interrogative sentences when we ask questions. Can you think of any examples? Well, here I have a few. What's your name? Where are you from? How long have you been in England? Where did you learn English? So basically, all your question forms, all your questions are interrogative sentences. Now, let's practice. I'm going to ask you to do something. Are you ready? Are the examples you will see here, are they declarative, exclamatory, imperative or interrogative sentences. Let's have a look. I have no idea. Adam told me the answers. Where are you going? Please sit down and open your books at page 34. Come here. Why are we waiting? She was so angry. We arrived early. So what I'd like you to do now is think for a minute, pause the video, and decide, is this declarative, exclamatory, imperative, or interrogative? And do the same for all of these. Okay, let's take a look at the answers. Did you have the same as me? Okay, now it's time to look in your books. So please go to page 145 in Q Skills 3 Listening and Speaking, Unit 7. This is what you will see. So let's take a look. And then after that, you will also need to look at pages 146 and 147 in your listening and speaking books. And we're going to look at two exercises, well, an explanation and listening to sentences and how we pronounce the different types. And finally, we're going to do 3 LMS activities in Q Skills 3 Listening and Speaking for Unit 7. So let's look at each of these. Okay, you need to look in your Q Skills book on page 145. This is what you will see. You will see an explanation of declarative, interrogative, imperative, and exclamatory sentences. And what I would like you to do is to read this conversation between Hong and Nan, write the sentence type, declarative, interrogative, imperative, or exclamatory next to each type. So, for example, there are so many cars here. Yeah, I know, it's hard to believe we can finally afford a new one. What I'd like you to do is pause the video and just write in each space here, declarative, interrogative, imperative, or exclamatory. Okay, let's take a look at the answers. Okay, here we go. Did you get the same? Here, exclamatory and imperative because there are 2 sentences. There are 2 sentences. Okay, let's go to the next exercise. If we look on page 146, we're looking at the pronunciation in the different types of sentences. So, for example, it says, intonation varies according to sentence type, and it can help you understand if a speaker is asking a question, giving a command, or making a statement. So, declarative and imperative sentences have a falling intonation. I'm going to purchase a new home. Please give me some advice. Exclamatory sentences have a rise-fall intonation. This is fun. And interrogative sentences have 2 intonation patterns. So, are you coming with me? Or, why did you leave? What I want you to do is to find the recording for Unit 7. I would like you to listen to the sentences and check the type of sentence for each according to the intonation you hear. I'd like you to pause the video, do the exercise, and then we will look at the answers. Okay, let's look at the answers. Now what I'd like you to do is go to your LMS, which looks like this. Go to the activities. Let's go to Unit 7. So here we go to practice and we find Unit 7. And I would like you to do 2 exercises here. This exercise on the types of sentences. This is simply drag each sentence into the correct category. So is it interrogative, imperative, or declarative? So for example, where are you going? If you think that is interrogative, which means question, you drag it to there. Okay. When you've done that exercise, I would like you to try another 2. This grammar expansion exercise, it's word order in different types of sentences. So let's have a look what this means. Reorder each set of words to make a declarative, exclamatory, interrogative, or imperative sentence. Let's have a look at the second one. Which word comes first? I, it, believe, or can't? Let's check. I think it's this. And because it has an exclamation here, it's exclamatory. Okay, pause the video and do that exercise. And then finally, I would like you to try this exercise on pronunciation. You will listen to each sentence, choose the type of exercise according to the intonation you hear. You can hear by pressing on this button. Is it declarative, interrogative, or imperative? Okay. Thank you so much for listening. I would hope to see you again soon. Thank you. Take care.